Tonight, missing for 3 months.
I think for me, the hardest thing is, one, not knowing what has happened.
And multiple efforts to find answers.
It's a fine line and a balance there for police to deal with all the social media realities of today.
The questions and the words of caution.
People are kind of just making up stories, acting like this is some sort of TV show, and it hurts.
Surrounding the case of Eli Wood. Growing more slowly.
I'm not surprised that there's this, what I would say is a slowing.
New data on the region's changing population and how it factors in to future planning. Another call.
There's been inaction for decades.
For a Renoviction bylaw.
Right now, there's nothing to stop them from evicting somebody and then slapping a coat of paint on just to sell it out to somebody for more money.
Waterloo becomes the latest city to put the issue to a council vote. Good evening. It's been 3 months since Eli Wood was last seen after a fire broke out at his Kitchener apartment. Police suspect arson and foul play, but they've yet to provide any updates or explanations. Online sleuths have been taking matters into their own hands. But as CTV's Alexandra Hollick explains, there are words of caution that their hot takes could do more harm than good.
What really happened at this apartment on the morning of October 19th, 2025?
It's a question many have been asking. 25-year-old Eli Wood was living on Major Street in Kitchener when a fire broke out at his apartment in the early morning hours of October 19th. He's been missing ever since.
I think for me, the hardest thing is, one, not knowing what has happened.
Michelle Roy Brock says she's known Eli for years. The pair first met during their undergrad at Mount Allison University in New Brunswick and kept in touch until his disappearance.
Eli is probably one of the most kindest people I have ever met in my life. This whole situation completely shocks me because nobody deserves this, but Eli deserves this so much less.
Please stop scrolling and help me find my friend Eli Wood.
Roy Brock uses social media to share Eli's story in hopes that new information will be brought to light. But she says misinformation is also making its rounds.
People are kind of just making up stories, acting like this is some sort of TV show, and it hurts.
The case has taken off online, with deep dives and conspiracy theories being posted from around the world. And while many may be well-intended, some may cause more harm than good.
The criticisms of the police and a whole bunch of silly theories aren't going to help find Eli.
Experts say there's a fine line when it comes to the role social media can play in criminal investigations. On one hand, it can lead to tips, but on the other, it can put more pressure on police.
Trust the police to do what they need to do. And if you can help find Eli, then help. Other than that, stay out of it.
CTV News reached out to Waterloo Regional Police, who did not provide an update on the investigation, but they confirmed it remains active and ongoing. They also referred to a previous news release urging people not to rely on unverified information circulating on social media, as it may be inaccurate and could hinder the investigation. In the meantime, Roy Brock says the fight to find Eli goes on.
Continue sharing and talking about Eli and showing his face to everybody you know could make a difference.
Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Kitchener.
A long-running dispute between a former teacher and the Waterloo Region District School Board has come to an end. Carolyn Burjowski says her defamation lawsuit against the school board has been settled. The case relates to an incident 4 years ago in January 2022. When Burjowski was presenting to the Board of Trustees about the appropriateness of books in school libraries. Her presentation was stopped partway through after then board chair Scott Pietkowski said he had concerns she could violate the Ontario Human Rights Code. Burjowski later launched a $1.7 million lawsuit against the board and Pietkowski, alleging defamation, libel, and slander. Both sides have now reached a settlement, but say they cannot share any details of what it entails. Burjowski says she will release a financial accounting of her legal costs and public fundraising contributions in a video update in March. Time for a first check on the weather. Let's head over to Ashley Bacon for all the details. And I'm glad those advisories were out today because I looked outside. I was trying to decide whether to walk somewhere. And I thought, looks fine. And then 2 minutes down the path, that blowing snow, I mean, it was like a vortex of snow.
Absolutely, Tony. It was so deceiving because the sun was out for much of the afternoon today. But what people failed to realize is that it doesn't mean that it doesn't get cold while that sun is out. And as you mentioned, there's lots of watches and warnings. But before we get into that, I want to show you a video from earlier today. This is as winds started to pick up near Waterloo Region Airport. Lightweight snow, of course, blowing everywhere. Environment Canada issuing those alerts throughout southwestern Ontario. But before we get to that, if you think we've had a lot of snowfall this winter, take a look at what the people of Russia's Far East are currently dealing with. Around 7 feet of snow fell over the weekend, with some snow drifts several meters high, blocking building entrances and completely covering cars. Many people, I'm sure, are still left digging out. But let's get back to what's happening here in our region at this hour, Tony. It could be a mess, but it is still going to be a bit of a slow drive home for folks commuting at this hour, especially in this orange zone. That's close to southern Georgian Bay, Wyerton, around Mount Forest. You're going to see upwards from 20 to 40 centimeters of snow. Westerly winds between 70 and 90 kilometer-hour gusts. In the yellow zone, you're looking at 5 to 10 centimeters of snow and, of course, very strong winds to accompany it. Right now in Waterloo Region, -10, feeling much colder than that, and will continue to drop overnight as those winds pick up and those temperatures plummet. Tony.
Okay, Ashley, thank you so much. And as you mentioned, those communities closest to Lake Huron are under a blizzard warning tonight. High winds, frigid temperatures, and snow squalls expected. CTV Scott Miller is on the ground in the area to give us a sense of what things are like as police warn people to stay indoors if they can.
It's not going to be a night where you want to be out driving with a blizzard warning in effect for an area stretching from Exeter north to Tobermory.
The concern with that is with that fresh snow and the high winds that there's going to be some whiteout conditions and drifting, which we've had here before, obviously.
But tonight might be on the extreme end of bad winter weather with 70 to 90 kilometer-an-hour wind gusts, 20 to 40 centimeters of snow, and -20 to 25 degree temperatures expected.
Hey, listen, this is where we live. You know, we can expect some inclement weather. Prepare, plan ahead. Discuss your plan with your loved ones. You know, when you set out, where are you going to go? Make sure that cell phone's charged up. Clear off all the windows on your car. Make sure you've taken the time to fill up your washer fluid. Make sure you have lots of fuel. All those basic reminders, but, you know, we still have to say it because people find themselves in situations they're not prepared.
Sullivan says he really encourages drivers to consider staying home tonight due to the forecast conditions, and at minimum to check out municipal511.ca before heading out to see what roads are closed and what road conditions are out there.
You can zoom in on the province. Actually, you can look at the entire province, not just our area. But it really gives you a good overview where the bad weather is happening and where the road closures are. And then motorists can make a more, a better decision before they head out on the roads, whether that's a good idea or not.
In Midwestern Ontario, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Well, Prime Minister Carney and President Trump will likely run into each other at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland this week, as Trump, according to some reports out of the U.S., has been ratcheting up his criticism of Canada behind the scenes. Said to be fixated on this country's inability to defend the Arctic. It is the same argument he's been using for his desire to acquire Greenland. Let's go to CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver now in Davos, Switzerland with the latest.
The Prime Minister is one of a record 400 top political leaders in Davos for the World Economic Forum. But it's one leader who's not even there yet, Donald Trump, who is dominating the conversation and raising the tension. Prime Minister Mark Carney will kickstart his time at the World Economic Forum with a fireside chat tomorrow and a speech later in the day all about what he calls the New World Order and Canada's approach. Expect him to talk about trade and the importance of diversifying Canada's trading partner, a message he has been spreading throughout this trip. But while trade and the economy may be topics the leaders here want to talk about, geopolitics and Trump's latest tariff threats are quickly taking over. A number of the 8 EU leaders facing Trump tariffs over Greenland will be at the World Economic Forum, including French President Emmanuel Macron tomorrow, who Carney will be meeting with. Right now, there is no indication that Carney and Trump will be meeting, but the two will be in Davos at the same time. The Prime Minister has said if he runs into Trump, he will raise his concerns about Greenland and the fact that Canada stands with Denmark and Greenland. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Corton, Switzerland.
A senior government source tells CTV News Ottawa is thinking about sending a small contingent of soldiers to participate in NATO training exercises in Greenland. CTV's Mike LeCouture has more on the balancing act as Trump threatens additional tariffs on other EU countries.
The picturesque landscape of Greenland could soon host a handful of Canadian soldiers. The members of our military would participate in training exercises with a number of European allies.
They framed it as a long-planned military exercise.
Canada's former ambassador to NATO says these deployments were originally planned to deter Russian action, but it could have the same effect on President Trump.
Trump is taking it as a message, and perhaps, unspoken, the allies will think of that as a way of changing Trump's risk calculus.
Canada's troop commitment would likely be less than the dozen soldiers Germany is sending to Greenland. Still, there could be blowback for Canada, as U.S. President Donald Trump is threatening tariffs on any ally that sends troops.
Just to show the Americans that, you can't push around a NATO ally and threaten to take over a country against their will.
Now, to minimize the political fallout, some suggest appealing to Trump in a different way.
Try to turn the tables a little bit and say, let's all be in this together when it comes to the defense of the Arctic in North America, rather than make it appear as if somehow we're marshalling a force to defend Greenland from the Americans.
NBC News is also reporting Trump is complaining to aides about Canada's vulnerability in the Arctic. That's despite Canada already committing $6 billion to an over-the-horizon radar system for the far north.
We have to do more in our Arctic, but we also have to be kind of calm. More important thing is to work with our Arctic allies to deter and to get ready for any threat.
But the source of that threat in a rapidly changing geopolitical landscape depends on where you are in the world. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Premier Doug Ford blasted the federal government's new trade deal with China today, saying the plan to lower tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles will hurt the auto industry and threaten Canada's security. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has that.
On a convention stage in downtown Toronto.
Once the camel gets his head in a tent, his whole body's in the tent.
And again at the Ontario Legislature.
All we got is a massive threat.
The Premier panning the deal that will allow up to 49,000 electric vehicles from China into Canada.
I'm not too sure if President Trump wants Chinese spy vehicles coming across the border.
Well, this cybersecurity expert isn't aware of any data sharing from EVs.
Unless we're able to validate and verify each and every single component, knowing that security is built right in from the get-go.
Those fears aren't going anywhere, and we have sort of a recent example of this.
The Canadian government stopped Huawei, which was a Chinese company, from building the 5G infrastructure within Canada for the very same concerns.
Doug Ford skeptical that Chinese car manufacturers will ever build in Canada. Worried about the future of existing Ontario auto workers.
Yeah, I'm a little ticked off of the PM, but he's coming over hopefully for a sandwich, maybe a pizza or something.
Ford reveals he only got a few hours heads up on the deal with deep implications for Ontario. The call from a minister, not Mark Carney.
Prime Minister knows my number, and I thought we had a good enough relationship that he'd give me a quick text or a little bit of communication. That never happened. That's fine. Like I said, I know where I stand with him.
The opposition leader sees the Premier as trying to deflect blame.
You know what? If you're not at the table, you are on the menu. And that's what happened to Ontario with this deal.
The Premier's been calling on Ottawa to back away from the requirement to have all new vehicles sold be either electric or hybrid by 2035. A senior federal government source tells CTV News a new auto strategy is coming next month. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
A significant drop in a short time. That's what Waterloo Region's population growth has seen, according to the latest data from Stats Canada. It shows just over 2,000 new residents over a one-year period. a sharp drop from the tens of thousands seen annually over the previous 3 years. Let's go to CTV's Spencer Turcotte live for more. He's been breaking this down for us today. Quite a difference, Spencer, after the region was ranked one of the fastest growing communities in the country.
And yet, experts don't seem to be sounding any alarms. Given the exodus of foreign students and workers across the country, they say it's not a surprise.
After a 3-year surge, the population in Waterloo Region slowed almost to a halt. From July 2024 to July 2025, Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge saw 2,166 new residents arrive in the area, bringing the population to 701,568, making it the smallest increase in decades, putting the Tri-Cities near the bottom for population growth among the country's biggest urban areas.
It's not a big surprise, actually, because of the changes at the federal level.
Kevin Eby is the Region of Waterloo's former Director of Community Planning and says this was expected given the caps on international students, with Conestoga College seeing its enrollment drop by thousands and the tightening of rules for foreign workers. He adds we may see this trend extend for a few years, but
it's a bit more of a temporary blip than anything. When you understand that these things happen on a regular basis, it's not something to panic about by any means.
Eby says the plus side to this drop is the easing of pressure on the housing market, at a time when the region is also grappling with the water capacity concern that has temporarily paused development in Kitchener and Waterloo. But what does this mean for businesses?
My sense is that's not felt in an immediate way. I think it's more in the planning moving forward. But again, that's why we've got to look at this in a broader sweep.
So, looking at it with the long-term lens, Ian McLean with the KW Chamber of Commerce suggests this drop shouldn't hinder businesses too much.
This is where people want to come and live and work and grow their business and invest. And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
As for how this plays into the projection of 1 million residents in the region by the year 2051, perspectives vary.
That was an incredibly optimistic forecast to begin with. I'm not sure it was ever actually attainable.
Whether we're 1 million people by 2051 or 900,000 is, we still need a new hospital. We need tens of thousands of new homes. We need, infrastructure like Highway 7, and we need 50, 60, 100,000 new jobs.
Again, while this may not be cause for any concern, this drop is still far off from 2023 when the region welcomed more than 36,000 new residents. Tony.
Certainly a big change. Okay, Spencer, thank you. CTV's Spencer Turcotte live with us. Sign up for the CTV Kitchener newsletter and stay in the know. We've got a look at the top stories, the latest forecast, and some must-see videos, and it's all sent right to your inbox every morning. You can sign up over on our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. A young Leafs fan gets a chance to give his hockey hero a special gift. Later on CTV News, a make-a-wish moment you won't want to miss.
I'm Jeff Pickle in Waterloo, where City Council is considering a Renoviction bylaw. While many in attendance are in support of the idea, staff are recommending they turn it down. That story is just ahead.
Well, strong winds, snow, and cold temperatures expected overnight. But how long will this deep freeze last? I'll have that with your full weather forecast a little later in the show.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news.
A controversial bylaw is on the agenda right now over at Waterloo City Council. They're looking at a potential Renoviction bylaw, aiming to eliminate or greatly reduce the number of bad faith evictions. A group of demonstrators marched to City Hall this afternoon, urging councillors to say yes to it. CTV's Jeff Pickle joining us live from Waterloo City Hall. And Jeff, city staff were actually recommending that council not go ahead with this bylaw right now.
Well, Tony, that's right. According to the report, there are a number of concerns they have with this bylaw, and one of those is that simply they don't have the staff or the resources to do this right now. They say they're working on a number of other large projects, and putting that time and resources into those projects might jeopardize them or delay those further. So they say right now, really the best option is just to wait at this point in time. Now, a renoviction is a bad faith eviction where landlord does superficial renovations to force out a tenant in order to charge at a higher rate for a new tenant. The proposed rental bylaw would force landlords to get a license from the city if they are going to do a renovation that would require the eviction of the tenant. It would essentially make landlords prove they need to have the tenants leave the unit. Now, the staff report says the city does not have the staff or resources to take this on right now, but those fighting for this bylaw disagree and say council should act immediately.
There's money in the budget that has to go towards a growing homelessness issue, but we're not doing anything to keep people housed. Like, that's just ridiculous. We all know that it costs way more money to deal with a homelessness problem than to keep people housed. And how many more people are going to be out on the streets? There's no real affordable housing in Kitchener-Waterloo. No new housing is going to be built now that, all development is paused. So how long are we expected to wait?
The staff report also says they have concerns if the bylaw will be effective and if they will get legal challenges from landlords. The city also says there is an issue that this is an issue that should be covered by the province, but as the supporters say, that's not really a reliable option.
If we could go to the province and fix this problem, we would do it 100%. 100%, we would not be approaching the cities. It would be a much better use of our resources to handle this at the provincial level, but that is not the reality of the situation. So that is why we're approaching Kitchener and Waterloo and Cambridge.
So no vote on this yet. Council is just taking a 15-minute break. There was a number of very direct questions on this matter, so no decision made yet. Anticipated to have a vote tonight and decide on this whether or not to pass this renoviction bylaw. Tony.
Jeff Pickle at Waterloo City Hall. Jeff, thank you for that. A pair of digital experts are rolling out a new way to train first responders. They're visiting fire stations around Ontario with virtual reality scenarios. CTV's Brent Lale reports.
Command to P1. Dispatch has reported a fire on the main floor with 2 patients inside.
The creators of Expert VR are hoping to change the way firefighters train.
Just confirming, you've got reports of 3 victims. We never know what we're going to step off the truck to, so from fire to any different kinds of things, we can work on all these.
With help from real firefighters, Drew McNeil and Evan Sittler-Bates have been developing this technology for 6 years. Now they are taking it across the province.
To practice anything from radio communications, suppression techniques, 360 size-ups, and a variety of other tools.
This week, they were in southwestern Ontario.
Guys, we also have fire and smoke showing from the Alpha Bravo corner.
We don't have the luxury of having a large staff where we can take trucks out of service, nor do we have the luxury of having a concrete physical training center. So that being said, this allows us to train in a classroom like this. We're a small department. We're made up of 60 personnel, and we don't want to tax them any more than we have to.
We have a victim in the basement. I've never done VR before, so this is new to me, and I think a lot of us as well, it was new. Super fun, though. Our big thing is communicating, working on that and moving forward, and trying different scenarios would help.
Every time we put someone in a headset for the first time, we see their eyes light up, and, everyone needs to get comfortable with the technology, but once they've gone through 2 or 3 times, we really see that uptick in their ability to adapt.
This technology from the Niagara Falls-based company is funded by the province. They can build skills without the risk or cost of physical training.
They're not wearing their bunker gear, so your senses in that regard aren't like they would be on a physical training center or event, but you are occupying some senses. It's only ever going to get better. And as it stands right now, we have benefited greatly from this training. And there are talks about buying this training device for our fire department.
3 patients extricated, fires extinguished.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
Live look outside from our tower camera. This kind of tells you the story of the weather right now, doesn't it? We feel like we're in a bit of a snow globe with Squalls, blowing snow, a lot of wind whipping it up and sending it all around, reducing visibility, by the way. Visibility extremely low right now, about 1.6 kilometers. It's usually about 16. So that is the active weather we're dealing with at the moment, and Ashley's back to update us on the advisories in just a sec. Plus, keeping up with the World Cup surge, a closer look at the costs to host the big FIFA tournament, including the capacity of our healthcare system. And next, leveling up, one of the ways to enjoy this cold and snowy winter. We'll hit up Chicopee for the latest on an expansion on the slopes. You know what kind of weather this is? Do you know what I did last night?
Uh-oh. What'd you do?
I baked a chocolate cake.
That's a perfect way to spend a night.
And then I ate almost half of it.
Oh, that's why I didn't get any, I'm assuming?
Yes.
I was going to say, talks about baking a cake and then doesn't bring any in. Ouch.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have admitted that. But the point I was getting to is it's kind of like comfort food,
Totally.
comfort home weather, the kind of weather where you do just want to stay in. And
it's safer to stay indoors in this kind of weather. And unfortunately, Tony, it's going to be like this for a few days on and off. So let's start by taking a look outside in downtown Waterloo, outside of City Hall this evening. That looks like a beautiful postcard kind of shot brought in by Dave Pettit, our cameraman. Thank you, Dave. As you can see, Tony, the flurries are starting to fall. We're expecting another few centimeters of snow to hit Waterloo region overnight. But the big story tonight is the alerts. Environment Canada issuing several warnings for southwestern Ontario. Let's start there with our snow squall and fall warning. That is in the yellow zone, about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow expected through the day today and overnight. Of course, that could be heavy at times, creating very poor visibility. In the orange zone, this is the more serious system that is going to come through. It is coming through as we speak and will continue to do so. That's looking at between 20 and 40 centimeters of snow. Westerly winds of 70 to 90 kilometers an hour. Of course, that can cause dangerous conditions on itself. When you add the snow, plus all the snow we had leading up to today's event, it's going to be a bit of a messy and dangerous drive out there. So do take care if you are on the roads. This is the band of precipitation that's causing all that issue. As you can see, south of Wyerton in that southern Georgian Bay area, you can see all of that darker purple. That means the snow is heavier as the purple gets darker. That's going to linger through to tomorrow morning and start pushing out by tomorrow evening. That's not going to mean that the flurries will stop. It just means we might not get as much accumulation tomorrow. We still are expecting another 10 centimeters or so for that region, but it will start to slow down a little bit. Let's look at temperatures right now, starting in the west coast with Saskatoon at minus 16, Thompson at minus 24 at this hour, Thunder Bay minus 23 on the east coast, Montreal minus 6, and then further east looking at St. John's 0 degrees. Halifax, the warmest part of the country at this moment at 1. Here at home, we're looking at minus 10 in Kitchener-Waterloo, but feeling much colder, closer to minus 20 with the wind chill. As those winds continue to pick up overnight, it's going to drop even further. We're expecting a low of minus 16, feeling closer to minus 27. That is dangerous conditions if you're outside. So if you have to be outside, do your best to cover up all exposed skin as best you can. Tomorrow, conditions not faring much better. Minus 12 is the expected high, but feeling much colder than that with the wind chill. As we look at our 7-day forecast starting in Waterloo region, periods of snow continuing through to the rest of the week, and then temperatures really starting to take a nosedive by the weekend. So we're going to keep an eye on that as we get a little closer to the weekend, just how bad the Environment Canada forecasters are predicting. In Lambton, Kent, Essex, similar conditions there. Periods of snow expected back for Wednesday, and then temperatures again starting to plummet by your Friday. In Lambton, Kent, in southern Georgian Bay, that's where we're seeing that system of snow, Tony. You're going to see heavy snow periods Tuesday, potentially into Wednesday. Minus 6 is a high for Wednesday, and then those flurries and colder conditions continuing. Okay, let's take a break from cold and dreary and talk about this beautiful picture that Ted Jacobs sent in from Roseville, Ontario. This was last week.
Nice.
Just after the storm we got last week, and how beautiful. It was a calm after the storm, and I'm hoping, you know, folks around the region today, especially in those hard-hitting areas up in Wyerton and southern Georgian Bay, remember there is spring coming.
Oh my goodness, yes. It can't come soon enough.
No, I mean, everyone loves snow and we love to ski and take advantage of the outdoor winter activities, but it has been a very harsh winter for many folks.
Yeah, and that's some next level cold on the way in
on top
later
of
this
the
week
snow,
too.
the cold, that's right.
Okay, Ash, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you later in the show. And speaking about enjoying the outdoors, when of course the temperatures make that comfortable enough to do, Chicopee Ski Hill unveiling its new lift and 2 new runs over the weekend.
Here we are at Chicopee. We're really excited to be riding this, our newest lift, the 4th one in 2 years.
So this new lift can get 2,600 people per hour up the hill. Funding from the province helped to cover the cost of that and some new lighting and snowmaking equipment. This is part of a 10-year plan to upgrade Chicopee's amenities. With the FIFA World Cup just months away now, host cities like Toronto are calculating the cost of the event. A Canadian doctor is also raising concerns that the already strained healthcare system can't handle thousands of visitors that the tournament will bring. Here's CTV's Natalie Johnson.
As Toronto prepares to welcome the world for FIFA soccer this summer, City Hall is charged with containing the costs.
The federal government and the provincial government have all agreed they want to participate. I would really like both levels of government to sign the checks.
The big bill holding steady at $380 million. City funding pegged at $179 million through reserves, hotel tax, commercial rights sales, and rental fees.
The City of Toronto has a structural deficit. There will be a windfall from FIFA, and it's not going to be coming to the City of Toronto, but it's going to be costing the City of Toronto an incredible amount to host this event. So we're hoping that our partners and other orders of government will continue to be at the table with us and really taking a serious look about their financial responsibilities as well as things under their purview.
Healthcare near the top of that list. In an editorial published today in the Canadian Medical Association Journal, Toronto emergency physician Dr. Catherine Varner warns that for hospitals here, quote, being in a constant state of surge capacity is actually the norm. Concerned about mounting pressure on Ontario's healthcare system as some 300,000 visitors descend on the city for the massive event.
We see in any number of sporting events or mass gathering events where you'll have more trauma in hospital as well as more alcohol or substance-related visits to emergency department utilization. Those are things we saw in Game 1 and Game 7, of course, in downtown Toronto when I was working. Saw a lot of head injuries related to booze-related incidents. And not so much in the stadiums themselves, but what's happening in the city as people are celebrating.
We're doing everything we can to enhance the healthcare system. You talk to our finance minister, every time I see him, first words out of his mouth, do you know how much we're spending on healthcare? And I say, well, we're investing in healthcare.
After years of planning for FIFA, Toronto's World Cup year is here. The question is whether the city can come away with a win.
And that report from CTV's Natalie Johnson. We have a truly decadent edition of Made Right Here coming up for you in just a few minutes. Stay with us as we spotlight a business in Guelph where they are putting together some next-level cakes and cupcakes. Inflation in Canada ticked up slightly last month to 2.4%. Now, that compares to December 2024, when Ottawa implemented a GST break, which helped to bring prices down. But for Canadians struggling to make ends meet, expenses are still heading in the wrong direction. CTV's Geneviève Beauchemin has more.
In these cookies, there's a secret ingredient.
You have a passion for coffee.
I'm obsessed, a little bit. Stephanie Presta started a home business, Montreal Latte Heart, combining that shot of caffeine with another passion, baking.
So I infuse my cookies with my coffee, and the coffee makes the flavors really come out of the cookies.
But that is now a recipe for higher costs. The latest Statistics Canada inflation numbers show coffee went up 30% annually, and that sweets were also pricier.
Weather variability and lower yields just means that there's less coffee beans being produced and there's more global demand. That's driving the prices up.
A similar story has unfolded for beef prices. They're up 16%. The cattle stock in Canada is low, boosting prices. Coffee and beef are the main staples that saw a 5% hike annually for grocery items. But overall, many economists see some positive signs for food inflation in the report.
If you take out beef and some of the secondary effects on proteins, take out coffee, take out a couple of other things that have had extreme weather issues, the news is relatively optimistic for food prices going forward.
For Presta, relief from rising prices could mean investing in her passions is worth all the hard work.
There were moments this Christmas where I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
And with the cost of dining out going up too, it's hard to find a treat at a sweet price. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Okay, let's recap our top stories now. Leanne Evans is in studio with us as we look at the latest, Leanne, on the search for Eli Wood.
Yeah, Tony, it's been 3 months since the 25-year-old was last seen after a fire at his Kitchener apartment. Police suspect arson and foul play, but there haven't been recent updates on the investigation. However, the case has taken off online with deep dives and conspiracy theories being posted from around the world. But experts say if the correct information isn't getting pushed forward, that can do more harm than good. From major growth to a major drop, that's what Waterloo Region is seeing when it comes to its population. It shows just over 2,000 new residents over a one-year period, a sharp drop from the tens of thousands seen annually over the previous 3 years. It's the smallest increase in decades, but not surprising to experts considering a nationwide mass exodus of foreign students and temporary workers.
And online tonight, we were talking about comfort food a little bit earlier and the time of year to make something good. We have some recipes for healthy meals on a budget.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that chocolate cake that you made. I didn't see any of it come to the newsroom, so I'm wondering where my piece is.
I'm going to clear all that up at the end of the show.
Okay, well, aside from that, we know it's a new year. It's January. Many people trying to eat healthy and save money. Emily Richards was here to show us some simple but delicious dinner ideas that will save you cash. You can get all those recipes online on our website. There were 3 meals that she made. You can scan the QR code, download the CTV News app, or go to ctvnewskitchener.ca. Always looking for new dinner ideas, especially easy ones.
Oh, yes. People have got to check those out. I tried those meals that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Emily
they were
made.
good.
Oh, they were fantastic.
Always are with Emily.
Perfect. Yep. Thanks, Leanne.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's keep it going with food. A Guelph bakery is turning cakes and cupcakes into an art form and helping satisfy that sweet tooth. On this week's Made Right Here, we head to Decadently Yours.
Hi, I'm Tara Riddell from Decadently Yours in Guelph. I'm the co-owner. We have actually a really wide variety of stuff that we make. We specialize in cakes for weddings, showers, any event you have. We have specialty cupcakes. We make decadent brownies. We make cake cups. We make cheesecakes. We have cookies. We bake all our stuff from scratch, and we use locally sourced products. We are approaching our 13th year here in Guelph, and we couldn't have made it this far without all our loyal customers and people who just come back and are like family to us. I think the one thing that has kept people coming back is that we bake with love. We bake from our heart. We try to make everything as good as possible because at the end of the day, we want to make people happy. It's really nice to see when people come in and we'll do their anniversary or we'll do their wedding, and then a few years later they come in and we start doing their children's birthdays. And it's really nice because it feels like we're part of their family. It's not always doable for people to just do something they love to do, and to be able to come in and do it for my own self, for my own business is really nice. And I really enjoy when people will pick up their stuff and they're so happy. It makes my day, and it makes me feel really good to be able to make people that happy.
A moment with Austin Matthews. Coming up, the 10-year-old fan who had a special moment with the Leafs superstar. Fans of the popular TV series Heated Rivalry can now get their very own Ottawa Senators jersey inspired by the show. CTV's Kimberly Johnson has that story.
Jenny Asselin is an Ottawa Senators fan and a Heated Rivalry fan. She was caught off guard when the worlds collided at the Canadian Tire Centre.
Going to buy a commemorative puck, and sure enough, there's a Hollander and a Rosenov jersey right there waiting for me. It was just serendipity, really.
The Senators have released Heated Rivalry-inspired Sens jerseys. Fans of the series can now buy Senators jerseys with the names Hollander and Rosenov on the back. The popular Crave original series is a love story about pro hockey players Shane Hollander and Ilya Rosenov, who are on rival teams.
We had the idea on Friday morning, and we had a whole bunch of jerseys in the store by Saturday night at our game, and sold out within probably an hour before the first period was over.
Peter Shire with the Senators says the store was getting requests for the specialized jerseys from Heated Rivalry fans. So they had some made up ahead of Saturday's game against Montreal. He says online sales are also popular.
We woke up on Sunday morning. We had orders from, I think, Germany, Sweden, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Sweden, from all over the world. So it really, it's great.
In all, he says about 50 jerseys have already been sold, and proceeds will be going towards Ottawa Pride hockey.
Heated Rivalry has been a really fun topic of conversation lately. I feel it's been taking over conversations in the locker room, and it's a great, wholesome show.
Ottawa Pride Hockey is an inclusive hockey recreation league for the queer community, and with about 200 regular players, the league's co-coordinator says the goal is to make sure everyone sees themselves on the ice and on a hockey jersey.
So important to be able to see yourself as a kid, even as an adult now, just like, okay, I am welcome here.
And with the city of Ottawa set to play a possible role in the upcoming season 2 of Heated Rivalry, now fans can have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, a fun little thing to see the Sens sort of embrace.
Kimberly Johnson, CTV News.
All right, more news in a moment. First, let's check in once again with Ashley.
Well, lots of winter conditions expected overnight, but what will tomorrow morning look like for your commute to school and work? I'll have those details after the break. Stay inside and start your night off with E-Talk at 7, followed by the Big Bang Theory, and then back to back to back 911.
Okay, we're going to check in with Leanne one more time with a look at what our team's working on for later tonight. Leanne.
Tony, the City of Waterloo Council meeting is still underway this hour, where a renoviction bylaw aiming to eliminate or greatly reduce bad faith evictions is being discussed. The report says the city doesn't have the staff or resources to take it on right now, but those fighting the bylaw say council should act immediately. Delegates continue to speak this hour. We'll bring you an update after the vote happens at 11:30. Also, continuing to keep an eye on the prolonged winter weather event that's impacting much of southern Ontario tonight. So we'll bring you all those up-to-date details on the system at 11:30. Tony.
Before we let you go, Leanne, the reason why I didn't bring you and Ashley a sample of the chocolate cake is because I didn't frost it, and most people don't like cake without frosting.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I know. I think the frosting's my favorite part. So
there you go.
You know, you ate it without frosting?
Yes, I did. But you know what? I'll bring you a little piece tomorrow.
Okay.
And you can tell me how the cake is.
Thanks.
And Ashley, you too, because now I've publicly sort of pushed myself into this promise.
I better not miss out on this, but you know, it's frosting outside.
It's frosty out there.
So you don't get frosting on your
found a
cake.
segue from chocolate cake to weather.
It's what I do. It's what I do. Let's take a look at our boards, because we got to reiterate the fact that it is going to be a rather dangerous evening for many folks around the region, especially in that highlighted orange zone for blizzard warning. Around 40 centimeters of snow expected, so it is going to be bad. Tomorrow morning, though, much nicer, mixture of sun and cloud to start the day before flurries kick in, but very cold conditions.
Well, a young Leafs fan had his dream come true today as part of Make-A-Wish.
10-year-old Liam got to present his hockey hero, Austin Matthews, with a special gift that he designed himself. CTV's Rahim Ladini has the story.
This is the moment Liam has been working towards for over a year, hanging out with his hockey idol.
Toronto Maple Leafs captain Austin Matthews.
I was very excited and happy to meet him for a second time.
I know he's been dreaming of this moment for a really long time. Austin Matthews is incredible. It's his hero.
You see, Liam loves hockey. He gets on the ice whenever he can, though it's sometimes challenging living with cystic fibrosis. He was first diagnosed with the respiratory disorder at 3 weeks old.
At the time, we had no clue that we were carriers of it. So it was really scary for me. But I mean, as you can see, he's grown up to be an amazing little boy.
And Dina's amazing 10-year-old is also selfless. And this is where Make-A-Wish Canada comes in. Known for creating life-changing wishes for children diagnosed with critical illnesses, the organization asked Liam what he wants. But instead of a vacation or a new toy, Liam wished for the chance to design custom skates and stick for the Leafs captain.
It just reminded me of Austin Matthews, and I wanted to be like him one day.
His heart is so full. He would literally give you the shirt off his back. So it doesn't surprise me that he wanted to do something special for his hero, Austin.
With the help of a custom designer from Calgary, Liam drew some of Matthews' favorite things.
The Toronto Maple Leafs, Austin Matthews' dog, and Carlton the bear.
I was supposed to use them as inspiration. When I saw the drawings, I was like, I'm just going to reproduce the exact drawing, and that's what's going to go on the skate.
After Liam gifted Austin Matthews with the custom pair of skates and stick, Liam was then surprised with a replica version of both just for him. And these skates are also signed by Matthews himself. Is there anything he said to you that was really special?
Yeah. He'll try to get as much goals as he can possibly for me.
And as Matthews tries to follow through on his promise, he'll be keeping Liam's favorite saying in mind.
Never give up.
Raheem Ladani, CTV News.
Wow.
Incredible, incredible. And you know, hockey players are quite traditional and superstitious with their skates, but I bet you Austin's going to take an extra special lap with those ones.
Oh, for sure. What a great moment.
Yeah.
And a great wish come true. That's our time. See you at 11:30. Have a good night.